Hi everyone. You must have heard by now that the Chhattisgarh High Court has just passed a very, very sad judgment on the Binayak Sen case. They have rejected his bail application and upheld the trial case which had put Binayak Sen away for life imprisonment on December 25th. There are three reasons why I really want you to get interested in this case. There is Binayak Sen's character, there are the facts of the case, and there is the significance of this case. First of all, Binayak Sen's character. By now, you must have heard that he is amongst the most sterling doctors we have in this country. He has spent over 30 years serving the tribal poor in Chhattisgarh. And the reason why he came into the radar of the state's eye in the first place is because he was resisting the Salva Jurum and speaking up against the human rights violations that the SPOs were perpetrating in the countryside. The specific reason for which he was put away was that he met a Maoist ideologue called Narayan Sanyal 33 times in jail. But the fact of it is that Binayak Sen met this man legally with jail authority permission. And as I now understand, and I have met him a lot of times and been involved in this case, is that he was really meeting him to find grounds on which talks could begin between the Maoists and the government. He was trying to find a common space where these issues could be discussed. The specific reason why the government got angry with Binayak Sen is because he was raising issues of justice. They concocted such a flimsy case against him. They believe that he passed 3 letters from Narayan Sanyal out to a man called Piyush Guha. Even if we believe for a moment that these letters were passed by Binayak Sen, they are so ludicrous. They are addressed to a Mr. V, a Mr. P and Mr. Friend. They say absolutely nothing. They complain about the onset of old age, arthritis and the terrible jail conditions. And they say that we are happy the 9th Congress went well. Please pass on the message and spread the message in the cities. They are unsigned letters. Does this constitute a national security threat? Do you put away a man like Binayak Sen for sedition on grounds as flimsy as this? Suppose for a moment we believe that he did pass these letters on, which is difficult to believe because they say that they caught Piyush Guha, the man who was the courier for this letter, in Mahindra Hotel. When the hotel witnesses became hostile, the police said that no, we didn't arrest him in Mahindra Hotel, we arrested him on Station Road. And then they brought a street vendor to say that when Guha was arrested on the Station Road, he heard him tell the police that Binayak Sen had passed on these letters. How much more flimsy can evidence get? When the prosecution was closing its arguments on Binayak Sen, they said that Elena was a threat to the country because she had had a letter from the ISI. It turned out that it was a man called Walter Fernandez from the Indian Social Institute. The entire case is full of bungles like this. There's another reason why we should be interested in Binayak Sen. The reason we should be is because he has become a sort of symbolic test case. His case is not about facts, it's not about justice, it is about putting out a message of deterrence. The state wants to tell all human rights activists, all people who stand up for political dissent and freedom, that if you dare to question us, this can happen to you. Over the years, there has been a lot of groundswell of opinion for Binayak Sen. The fact that despite media attention on him now, despite the fact that Nobel laureates have spoken up for him, despite the fact that the case against him is so flimsy, if he can still be put away, you can imagine how difficult it is going to be for more activists and more freedom rights people to continue to hold their ground. I want to share a couple of anecdotes with you that will tell you the kind of man Binayak Sen is. 3 years ago, when there was no media attention on his case and people believed that he really was a dread Nakshal leader, I had gone to Raipur to do a cover story on him. I met Binayak through a jail van. He was surrounded by Sten gun toting commandos. I stood on my tiptoes and spoke to him. And having the national media there for the first time, Binayak did not say, "Take my case to the cities, please help me get out of here." The only thing he said was, "Shoma, go back and write that we have created 2 categories of human beings in this country, the privileged and the dispossessed." And he said, "Please write that there is a famine going on in this country, there is malnutrition rampant in the countryside, and we are living out the Malthusian theory that only the fit should survive." This was the message that Binayak Sen urgently communicated to me through the windows of that jail van. Does this man sound like somebody who's a national security threat? There's another anecdote I want to share with you. Just barely a few days ago, I was sitting with Ramjit Milani and Elena Sen preparing for this case because it is a case that I have got interested in. And Ram told Elena, "Don't worry, if you don't get this bail application, I will push for a pardon." And Elena said, "No, Ram, I'd much rather that Binayak stay in jail until his name is cleared." This is a couple of such impeccable integrity and dignity that it is a shame that neither the justice system, nor the police, nor the political dispensation will back off, even though off the record they all admit that this is a case that has gone beyond the borders and it is a case where there is a miscarriage of justice. DGP Vishwaranjan told me on record that if he'd been left to himself, he would not have arrested Binayak but perhaps kept him under surveillance. Gopal Subramaniam, the Solicitor General of India, has told a lot of people off the record that they've made a mistake in pursuing this case in the Supreme Court. And despite this knowledge, the state pursues it. One, because it is too shamefaced to back off, and two, because it wants to make a message out of Binayak Sen. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen an exhilarating revolution in Egypt as young people across the country have erupted against an autocratic regime and are fighting up for justice, freedom, democratic rights, and the space to dissent. It is really depressing, that is why, that in India, on the other hand, we are beginning to narrow our society down to only being concerned about consumerist well-being and giving up on the values of freedom, justice, and the right to dissent. It is for this reason that I am asking you to please get involved with the Binayak Sen case, read the stories on Tehelka, get to know what's going on, and join the Free Binayak Sen campaign. It is a campaign that is involved with our own understanding of ourselves as a society. Thanks a lot for listening in. Bye.